All right, so hi Gary, hi David. Thanks for joining me. So we were talking about the cubit, the Royal Cubit.
Yes, the Royal Cubit. 0.5236 meters.
Why
That's the
why is that,
measurement.
Gary?
Because it generates a lot of superlative results and it gives multiples of pi, multiples of phi squared, and also measurements that are in multiples of, no, sorry, subdivisions of the processional cycle, the Giza. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's I endorse that because it's just generated a lot of superlative math.
So it's a
And
number that fits.
yeah, right across the board, across Giza. And as we were talking about the wheel, I'm sure that's how they may have measured long distances in Royal cubits. In
Mm.
pi, 6 times the Royal cubit is pi, you know.
You were just saying about if you had a wheel with a diameter of a meter, then the circumference would be six Royal cubits.
Yeah, and also pi, one full revolution would be, well, an approximation of pi, which is 3.1416. Which is very close because 3.141592 something is the number.
Yeah. You go along with this as well, David, don't you?
I really do. Well, I was I'm always looking in my research to cut corners. So when I'm looking at the Royal Cubit, I'm doing searches on the internet, and when Gary's work came up and I read it about the chariot wheel,
Yeah,
it just made absolute sense. In terms of we know the Romans did this. They had a device on the wheel on their chariot wheels that marked the Roman mile. So every time the wheel had turned enough times to do a mile, a little weight dropped and they could mark the milepost. So
well, I didn't know that. I didn't
yeah,
know that, David. That
that's what
that
they
is
did.
a crucial point.
And
Because if the Romans were
your
using it, yeah, sorry, if the
yeah,
Romans were using it, they must have got their idea.
of
Yeah,
course they got it from the Egyptians, didn't they?
yeah,
And when I'm looking at when I've just been to the Grand Egyptian Museum, and I walk around the corner and see all these chariots, King Tut's chariots. They've all got six spokes in the wheels, just like you said.
yeah,
But to actually see it like that is an amazing feeling. And I
yeah,
actually did think of you when I saw it, because it was the first thing I was looking for. I thought, I wonder if there are six spokes in these chariot wheels, and there were. And to be quite honest, I wished I'd have noticed if there was any kind of device for dropping a
yeah.
weight or anything like that, but I didn't. I was so excited, I wasn't really thinking straight. But I did think, I wish I had a tape measure, and I wish I could get inside that case
Yeah,
and
just to
measure that
confirm it.
wheel.
Yeah,
Mm,
just to confirm
yeah,
it. But yeah, some of the wheels are four spokes, going back. But yeah, I think that it's such a simple answer to how they may have measured the Giza plateau.
yeah, yeah. And I
It's,
think it'll work for. I know using 52.36 is a great qubit, but
mm,
this 52.36 is coming from pi in your
yeah,
workings. And that
yes,
was another reason I thought this is just amazing that,
right,
you know, everybody's saying the Egyptians weren't familiar with pi, but all my research that I've done, it was like they knew pi inside out and upside down. They knew everything about it. They had
yeah,
they had loads of different versions of pi,
yeah.
and this one, my dad was an engineer, and he used to use this version of pi that's in your qubit.
Oh,
So
good.
how can it not be? How can it not be something that they were using? It's in Berryman's book.
Yeah,
I've seen loads of other metrologists that use it. It's it's the best. And when you convert it using Berryman's meter,
mm,
it gives a qubit of 20.61675. I've got it down on my screen here.
yeah,
20.61675. How good is that? I mean, it's between 20.61 and 20.62. everybody says that. That's where the Royal Cubit is. It couldn't be any closer.
No.
Well, it's as good as we can get.
Yeah. And if you multiply 0.5236 by 5, you got 2.618, which is 5 squared.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as I said, multiples of 5 squared and multiples of pi across the Giza plateau.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, it's elegant.
It is. It's that's a great way to describe it. And I think Melissa's very keen on phi as well. It comes in her work a lot.
Love a bit of phi. But then you can't get away from the meter if you're using this value. I mean, presumably on the understanding that it derives from that diameter, on a circle divided by 6.
Yeah.
Then you have to accept the meter, or do you? Maybe you don't.
I do. I think it's an Earth measure, and they may have kind of hidden it in a way that it was because it was sacred. But I'm sure that they used the meter. They knew about the meter. And anyway, there's a theory that they got their meter from just the one drop of water.
Oh yeah.
You know that.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Which was it 10 centimeters? 10 centimeters.
If you put
Is
it
that
on
right?
glass.
No, sorry, not 10 centimeters. 1 centimeter. Sorry,
if you drop it on a plate of glass,
yeah,
the width is a centimeter, isn't it? I've seen that video actually. I can't remember who it's by.
But that's just one theory. But I'm sure they knew the meter. It was sacred to them because it was an Earth measure.
Well,
yeah.
I think they used units that had 100 divisions, not just meters, but lots and lots of Egyptian measures had 100 divisions.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think they probably thought about a meter differently than the French did, where they were just looking for one specific measure.
Right.
I think the Egyptians were possibly putting 100 units in various different types of measure. Like we've got our modern rulers now that we use at school, and you've got inches divided into. You can have inches divided into tenths. My old school ruler's got the inch divided into tenths. It's got it divided into eighths. It's got it divided into sixteenths. And I think that that kind of rule we know they were using in their cubit rods, don't we?
Yeah.
I'd say it's a misconception that the imperial system is geodecimal, because actually, as you say, the number 10 is really important. The number 8 is really important. Yes, 12 is there, but it's actually not that important. 12 inches in a foot. But then where else does it come up? Not that much.
Well, I think it does in John Neal's work, doesn't it? And John Michel, the 12.
But historically, if you look at imperial measures, it's not huge. 4, 6, and 8 are just as important, and the number 10 is important.
Yeah, because you've got 8 furlongs in a mile, haven't you? I mean, that's a big deal, isn't it? Because 10 furlongs give you 6,600 feet, and that's a big deal as well. But there's another reason why I think this cubit that you've worked out is a choice cubit. When I went to the pyramid, there's a museum at the entrance where you go in. And you go into that museum, and the first thing you see, more or less, is a cubit rod. And I went running over to this cubit rod.
I can imagine the excitement.
And I was pushing everybody out of the way. Let me get out of that cubit rod. And I got to it, and the first thing I saw was 52.5 centimeters. 52.5 centimeters.
Yeah.
So I think, I wonder if I can reconcile that back to 52.36. And it's dead easy, because the difference between them is 0.14. And if you divide 0.14 into both of them, it goes into 52.36 374 times, and 375 into 52.5. So they're part of the same. 375 is like base 5, and 374. I'm not sure what that base is. I haven't really looked at it because I only did this for for today. You know, I thought, wow, that I've got to tell you that because it's a real. I think that's really important that you can reconcile your cubit to 52.5. And what I wanted to ask you was, how was it you that did you work it out, or did you get it off somebody else? This idea that there's six royal cubits in the chariot wheel, and the chariot wheel diameter is a metre.
No, it's through researching into it and just finding that the 0.5236 or 52.36 centimeters is the measurement that provides you with all this superlative math. And I thought, how comes nobody's writing about it? Well, they've written about it, but you have to really look for it. Yeah. And it seems, as I said, it seems everyone, you know, in the past, were tap dancing around that measurement, that crucial measurement.
Well, it is absolutely crucial.
As if they wanted to hide it, as if they didn't want to, as if they knew about it, as if they knew what it provided, and they just didn't want that coming out because it leads to a lot of. It's a key. It's a key measurement, and it's the key to the Giza plateau. Once you know that, once you use that measurement, you're working out the design of the plateau. You know, the complex.
Well, I've really gone to town on it because I started off doing all this stuff when I retired, and I've been doing it for 12 years now. Yeah. And I got into Giza through a guy called Hugh Franklin because I was just doing Alexander Tom's work. Yeah. I had his 3 books, and my background was in auditing, and the way that he's calculated his megalithic yard, it's done by statistical sampling. I used to use that in my day job. So when I read his first book, I read the intro on his first book, and I started laughing because my idea then was that Neolithic people were flint knappers and skin scrapers, wearing animal skins and chucking spears. That was what I really believed.
Well, that's what we're brought up to believe. We're kind of indoctrinated into that.
And then I read Tom's first chapter, and it was saying that these people could do Pythagorean triangles. Yeah. They could do complex mathematics. They could align the sights over massive distances. All these amazing things. Right. And when I was reading this intro, I just started laughing. I thought, this is ridiculous. And I remember I put the book on the mantelpiece at home. And I thought, I paid good money for that. I'm going to have to read it. and eventually, when I read it, I got to the bit where he worked out what his megalithic yard was. And I thought, hey, hang on a minute. I know he's right. He's got a big enough sample. He's got like 400 stone circles. I didn't know anything about this stuff at all. But it was that hooked me in. I thought, I really know that this guy is right. And I'm going to write a book about it. I thought, that'll be good. I'll write a book about. Yeah. And I had no idea that Robin Heath had already done all that. Okay. I didn't know. And when I got Robin Heath's books, I thought, flipping heck, this is just totally amazing. You know, that this why is nobody using this guy's work, and why haven't we got a different perception?
Yeah, a lot of it is being suppressed still. You know, it's not so much now because a lot of it's just a flood of things coming out now that they just can't deal with. But a lot of it was suppressed and kept down, and because they want you to believe a certain view, they indoctrinate you with, and
it is. So anyway, when I got this 52.36, I went to town on it because. I mean, you wrote about it in your first book. I bought a copy of your first book.
What first book? There's been the Serpent Ground, Shining Ones.
Oh yeah, I know you've written a few, haven't you? This one.
Oh yeah, with Scott Crichton. Yeah.
That's great. It's a great book, and
right. Thank you.
You've got 52.36 in here.
Want to just show that? David.
Yeah, but I think Scott Crichton came up with another Royal Cubit length, and it was me that was telling him about the 52.36
Yeah,
centimeters or
yeah,
0.5236 meters, and he didn't really accept it straight away, and we were kind of debating it. And when we after we finished that book, and he went on to write another book, I think it was it the Great Hoax, the Great Pyramid Hoax?
yeah. I think he did. I don't think I've got that one.
Colonel
Uh,
Vyse, he said that he more or
oh
less
yeah,
hoaxed the hieroglyphs, the
they've been
cartouches.
they were painted on by the later, weren't they? Is
Yeah,
that one?
so
Yeah, yeah.
so he went his own way, and then I went my own way, and I was using that, and I researched into it, and that's the reason why that paper was written, because I did a deep dive into it just to make sure. I wanted to certify it, as being the measurement, the Royal Cubit
Yeah,
measurement.
yeah.
And I think I've done a good job of it. I'm quite proud of that paper, actually.
Well, I
Yeah,
think it's this version of pi is an
yeah,
absolute killer, and the
yeah,
reason it is because I came into this from Professor Tom's work at Stonehenge,
mm,
and his Aubrey circle
yeah.
is 897.6 feet. And when you multiply that by 3.5 or
Mm.
35, you get 31416.
Well,
That is
yeah,
ridiculous, isn't it? And
yeah,
I'm thinking,
yeah.
what is going on? What is going on here? And I knew that when I got your qubit.
Uh,
So I knew that, and I was talking about it on different websites that was going on, but
mm,
like nobody pays any attention, do they? I was trying to say, look at this. This is the same at Stonehenge as it is at Giza. It's the
yeah.
same thing. So anyway, I don't know if you know this program that you can use when you've got a number. It's called I think it's called Numbermatics.
Numbermatics.
Yeah. And you
I've
put your
remembered that one.
number in and it
Yeah.
breaks it down into the
Or the
primes.
multiples. Yeah.
Multiples or
It
subdivisions and things, yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, I did it with 31416 today, and it's
Ah,
2 to the power 3 times 3 times 7 times 11 times 17. And
wow.
Professor Tom's megalithic yard is 16 times 17.
Yeah, so it all kind of
So,
correlates.
so it all ties in, and that is
Unbelievable.
this version of pi is such
Mm,
a killer.
yeah, yeah,
Like you already say, and I'm
yeah.
thinking I need to talk to Gary about this.
I'm
And I
glad
am
you are, because
so,
you're
so,
finding things that I haven't come across
yeah,
myself.
yeah,
There's so many permutations of the way you can approach it,
yeah,
and then you come up with things that I haven't found,
yeah.
and
But
that's why.
it's cementing what you're already writing about, isn't it?
Well, I think anybody who gets involved with that measurement, that Royal Cubit measurement, would be finding things they didn't think of.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, and you're doing that now. So yeah, it just adds more grist to the mill,
yeah.
really.
And there's another one with this because if there's 6 qubits in the wheel
Mm,
and the diameter is a meter,
yeah,
then one qubit has got a diameter of 16.666 centimeters.
yeah, yeah,
And that
yeah,
is another killer number, isn't it?
yeah,
16.666.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Okay.
so I've got Berryman and he's saying that they were using 52.36 like you are. And I thought, can I convert this 52.36 into inches using
Yeah.
Berryman's meter? And
Mm,
Berryman's meter is 39.375. It's just a little bit longer.
mm,
So I know that when you use that meter, the inch is 640 divided by 252 centimeters. 640 being a hecart, an Egyptian hecart, And 252 is a well-known number in metrology. I mean, some of the ancients were using 252 to denote the Earth's circumference.
Right.
So anyway,
That's brilliant.
I translate it, and it gives a cubit of, what did I say? 20.61675 inches.
Yeah.
Using, and that's right in the ballpark, isn't it? You know.
Right.
And then I divided that by 3.1416, and it gives 6.5625. And I knew straight away what that was. That's 9 of Berryman's digits. And what Berryman is saying is the cubit in digits is pi times 9. And this is proving it.
It's proving it, yeah.
Yeah. It's really solid stuff.
That's incredible. You know? Look,
and it's all coming from your original realization. I don't know how you got the inspiration to work that out, but it's just, I mean, I've used it ever since. And
I don't know how I do it. I really don't know how I do it. I had a normal comprehensive school education, and I was hardly ever there because I used to hop off school, the lessons, and go up in the art class. And what it was, I knew I was being indoctrinated, so I taught myself. I read the history books I wanted to read and that kind of thing.
You got the bug, didn't you? And it doesn't go away, does it? No,
it doesn't. And it can be a curse sometimes because it kind of interferes with your normal life.
Well,
and because you've got so much.
We've all got it. I mean, I've got it. Melissa's got it.
I think it is. Yeah, sorry, Melissa.
No, Gary, go on, say it.
No, I was going to say that I was talking to Robert Bauval, years ago, and he was telling me about the fine structure constant, but we'll get onto that in a moment. But he said, "How are you able to do this?" And I said, "I don't know. I hated math at school. I found it intimidating, like a lot of people do, and I wasn't into it at all."
Yeah.
And he said, what it is that you're an intuitive mathematician. You are able to juggle numbers to see what comes out of the end.
Yeah.
So, and that's basically what it is. I intuitively kind of work these things out. And I don't know how it actually starts, but I come to a result, and that's... And I find
it's incredible.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, because all this conversation about values for pi and different values for the world cubits, if anyone's coming in listening to this and they're a bit lost, it is true that it's really difficult to find a single historical value for the Egyptian Royal Cubit because there are different cubit rods in the various museums. You can analyze different bits of the Giza plateau and find different values, like Petrie did. 1 minute it's 20.62, then it's, I can't remember his other values. And it is confusing. So if you want to have a really, really precise figure, it's not easy. So you have to settle upon something. So what are the criteria that you're using, both of you?
Just juggling numbers and it's not really a criterion at all.
Well,
I was going to say that to me, math, you can't refute it. It's proof of things. Yeah. So I've become more respectful of math than I did when I was at school, and I find it beautiful. But yeah, when you talk about criterion, no, I just came to it just by juggling numbers and
it feels right. It's very intuitive.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I've got an intuitive feel for math. I don't know how I do it actually, but.
Well, what about you, David? What do you think matters?
I'm a bit hard-headed about these kind of things. I'm into. It's got a balance for me.
Yeah, got a balance.
Balances. Yeah. If some balances, I'm an auditor and an accountant, and I know understand double entry bookkeeping. And
so you're already prepared. You're already prepared to kind of work these things out.
Well, I used to do systems analysis as well. Yeah. So if something doesn't balance, I just can't deal with it. I mean, I had problems with a lot of things. Like I thought there's no way the Egyptians could have calculated real pi. And when I first found this cubit of yours, I thought that's definitely something they would have been using because it's a natural round number and
Yeah.
it's finite. And at the time, I had just this idea that all the numbers had to be rounded. I think it was Manu. You know Manu?
Manu saves today, yeah, because I met him
Yeah.
in 2018.
Yeah. Well, Manu, when I was on the website of what's his name?
Graham
Oh,
Hancock?
Graham Hancock.
Yeah, Graham Hancock's website.
Because we were all on there at one time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Manu, I was writing stuff about them using different qubits, but I was really green when I was doing it. I was just feeling my way around.
Well, we all got to start somewhere.
And I was saying, oh, this is this and this is this. And Manu says, hang on a minute, mate, you've not got this right at all. He says, for a start, he said they didn't use decimals. He said they didn't use decimals. He said they used whole numbers, and everything you do is in decimal. He said they didn't do that. They had whole numbers, the Egyptians. They used 1 over this and 1 over that. So I thought, I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board here. So I started to try and fractionalize everything.
Mm.
And then I was talking about what I thought was the big qubit, and I was saying that it was bigger than the measure that you get from Petrie's socket level measure. And Manu had worked that one out, and he had it as 20.740 recurring.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's not big enough. I think it's got to be bigger than that. And he was explaining to me how the number 7 was really important in everything that they did. And after I moved on from that website, I started to look at the number 7 and where it sat. And if you look at your version of pi, and I've been through those numbers, it's 2 to the power 3 times 3 times 7 times 11 and times 17. And the Giza pyramid, the Seked, is 14 over 11, isn't it?
Yes.
So, that's why this version of pi is so amazing.
Yeah, and when you look at triangle, base to height ratios, triangles, you'll find that the best fit with the 0.5236 meters is 0.441. Is that right? 0.441 meters, where every other determination of the Royal Cubit that people have made, the short leg of the triangle, it's like so many numbers. I can't explain this properly. I'm going to put it. It's only down to 5 digits. All right. The 0.5236 meters gives a short leg of 0.441.
Right. I don't know about that. I really don't know about that, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it's just a right angle triangle. If you use the 0.5236 meters, you'll find that the matching leg will be 0.4410 or something. It's only 5 digits, like the Royal Cubit. What I mean is that Royal Cubit length gives that short leg exactly 5 digits, where other Royal Cubit lengths will run into like 15 digits or whatever.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is it's just neat. It's neat the way that works out.
Yeah.
Difficult to explain that, actually. Difficult to explain.
11, 13 triangle, was that what you're thinking of?
No, not 11, 13. Have you got a triangle calculator there?
No, I've just got a normal calculator.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, if you look at
I keep going.
right angle triangle calculator, you put 0.5236 as the long leg.
All right,
short
let me just find.
You'll find that it will be
I'll use Pythagoras.
sorry, 4114. I think that's what it is. 0.4114.
4, and I'll tell you what I get. So the square root of that. Oh no, that's no good. Okay, to be resumed another time. I'm not getting the right result here for some reason.
Anyway, I found that out. When I found that, I thought, well, that's so neat. It seems as if that Royal Cubit length is the real value. So, 1411 is the Great Pyramid. So
that's the Sekhed, isn't it?
Yeah, the Sekhed. But I found that the side angles of the Great Pyramid, so 14 decimal places, is exactly 14 by 11.
Yeah.
Okay. So it gives that side angle of 51.84.
That's right.
So 14 decimal places, and the only when you use, as I said, the Royal Cubit as the length of the triangle and the short being 0.4114, you find that it produces the same side angle, the Great Pyramid, to 14 decimal places again, the same numbers.
Yeah.
So it works out. Everything works out with that. Yeah.
Did you ever try to work out the the longest edge, the long edges of the pyramid? When you climb it, you have to climb up the edges, don't you? Because
the slope.
The slope is not steep, is it?
The Aris edge.
The Aris, yeah. Have you worked those out? Have you worked anything out for those?
Yes. I've gone through everything about the Great Pyramid. In fact, I contributed an appendix to Robert Bauval's book, the one he wrote with Chandra Wickramasinghe.
Yeah.
Chandra was he's an astronomer. I think he worked under Fred Hoyle. I think Fred Hoyle.
I know Fred Hoyle. Yeah, I've got his book for Stonehenge.
So they asked me to contribute this appendix, which was all the mathematical properties of the Great Pyramid that I was discovering. And that's all in that appendix in that book. But yeah, I worked all that out then, about the...
And can you remember what the ratio was for it? Did you work a ratio out for it?
You're talking about the Aris edges of the Great Pyramid?
Yeah. Like it's 14 over 11... For the 51.8
for the faces.
Is there a ratio for the Aris? Did you get a ratio for it?
I'm sure I have got it somewhere, and I've got it written down somewhere because but I can't recall it straight.
Because I'm going to have to look up that, because I've tried a few times to work it out, but I can never get it. I know I feel as though I'm getting close to it sometimes, but I can never quite get it. But it's amazing to actually go there. I went to see the pyramids 20 years ago with my family, took the kids and everything. Yeah. But I didn't know anything about this stuff then. But I've just been again, and it was like a completely different trip. It was very exciting to be there. And
you've done more than I have, because I haven't actually been out there. Yeah. What a fraud I am.
Well,
I haven't even been out to Giza yet. I've never visited the place, but I
you don't need to go.
Yeah, I saw all the temples as well, and everything's planned for you. It's not difficult to sort out. It's not cheap though.
No, I was going to go
worth it.
I was going to go with Manu. Manu invited me out there. He said, "You can have the spare hotel room that I've got. It was for someone else, but they've dropped out. You can." I said, no, I can't, because we were moving at the time. So, because we moved from Pennsylvania to Wisconsin. Yeah, we were living in Pennsylvania. So, I could have gone out there. In fact, a couple of times I could have gone, but I haven't gone yet. And I feel such a fake, because I've written these books about Giza, the Great Pyramid. I haven't even been out there, and people are going to accuse me of that. You haven't even been out there. You're an armchair.
You don't need to go there to know the numbers. And actually, Gary... one of the numbers you mentioned earlier was the fine structure constant. So you found that at Giza, haven't you?
Now, this is powerful. This is powerful stuff. All right. When you hear this, you think, wait a minute, what sort of reality are we living in? Is this a simulation? Because it's just so weird. Okay. But I'll tell you about it. I'll try and explain it as best I can. There's a latitude running through Giza. that I call the golden cut latitude. All right? Did you know about this, David? Did you know?
I've read it in your book. I've read it in your book.
Ah, right. Well, what it is that if you take the center of the Great Pyramid, the latitude running through the center of the Great Pyramid in the north, and the latitude running through G3 in the south, the third smaller pyramid. I don't really call them Khufu, Khafre, or Menkaure. Yeah.
Okay.
I call them G1, G2, G3.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
You know, because I don't really assign any kind of. Do you know what I'm saying? It's too personal. It's too. I make it impersonal.
Yeah.
So, and it's just an objective way of looking at it. So if you take the distance, the full north-south meridional distance between the latitude passing through the center of the Great Pyramid and the latitude passing through the center of G3, you'll find that this latitude I'm talking about, which I call the golden cut latitude, passes through where it divides that full distance into phi, the phi ratio.
Right.
Okay. So I think it's 1413.72 royal cubits is the distance, is the length, full length from the Great Pyramid, the latitude running through the Great Pyramid and latitude running through G3. 1413.72. Now, from the center of the Great Pyramid down to this latitude I was talking about, the golden cut latitude is 540 royal cubits.
Right.
That's a subdivision of that's a 1/48th subdivision of the processional cycle.
Right.
So you measure down 540, and there's the golden cut latitude, and then the rest of the distance is 873.72. And if you divide 873.72 by 540, you get 1.618 exactly. Exactly. No fractions. No digits after that. Just 1.618. Have you got a calculator there? Because you can work.
I haven't got a calculator. No. Right. It's on my phone.
So that golden cut latitude, right, divides that distance between the two pyramids into phi, 1.618. And then you find, and this, I've got to get into other things here that you probably won't accept because it's, look, see this book here. See that?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that before?
I've heard about it. I've not read it. The Rendlesham Enigma.
Yeah, it's a brick. It's 700 pages.
Yeah.
And I wrote this with Jim Penniston.
Right.
Have you ever heard of the Rendlesham incident?
No.
Well, it's a lot to explain here, but I got pulled into this because Jim Penniston contacted me out of the blue. And he asked me to look at these sets of coordinates from a message that he said he received.
Oh, I remember hearing you talk about that on the radio.
Yeah, so look, the thing is when I looked into this, I thought it was all a hoax. I didn't believe it. I'm very skeptical about things. I like facts, you know.
Yeah.
And I was very skeptical about it. But I persevered with it because I thought I'm getting something out of it because I'm discovering things. And after a while, I thought there's no way you could have known about what this code produces. Yeah, these coordinates. And one of them was Giza. One of the coordinates was Giza, and it's between the two pyramids. It's between G1 and G2. It's a nondescript location there, but it's pointing to this golden cut latitude, right? And that's how I found this golden cut latitude. So the incident happened in 1980, and the Giza coordinates that were found in the message, which is its nondescript location between G1 and G2, it happens to be right where the sun sets on the evening of the summer solstice, because it passes between the two pyramids.
Right.
Like an Uket kind of hieroglyph.
Yeah.
It goes to the west. It sets in the west, which is the land of the dead to the ancient Egyptians.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the land of the dead. So it passes between the two pyramids, and these Giza coordinates that are found in the code were right there between the two pyramids, right where the path of the sun goes when it sets. So I thought that's kind of weird because there's context there, you know, because of the sun's path. So then it's pointing at this latitude that runs through Giza, as I said, the golden cut latitude. So I thought if Giza coordinates were found in this code from 1980, then what would happen if I was to project the coordinates back in time? Because the African plate is moving very slowly on which Giza is situated. You've got to take that into consideration, which people don't. That means the coordinates will change. The landmass is running southeast direction underneath the grid coordinates of the planet. So the key landmarks, like, you know, the four corners of the pyramid or the center, the coordinates will change every year slightly. You know, the last digits of the coordinates will change. And over 10 years, this will change considerably. So I thought this code originates from 1980. I'll project the coordinates. And Manu Safsadeh, he determined the ground level center of the coordinates in 2018. So I took his coordinates and I projected them back to 1980 using the Vincenzi distance calculator, which is marvelous because its accuracy is like to 0.5 millimeter. You know, what it is, you can measure the distances between two sets of coordinates and it will give you the exact kind of distance. It's a map length distance, but it's like accurate to 0.5 millimeter. So, you know, when you use that, the accuracy is the thing, you know, to find the distances. So anyway, I projected the coordinates back to 1980 and I found that the center of the coordinates for the Great Pyramid was very close to what they were officially on Wikipedia, which is 29.97 trying to think now, I'll have to leave. Usually I'm quite good at the number and remembering numbers.
Is that a Glenn Dash coordinate?
750. That was on Wikipedia. So I found that those coordinates in 1980 were close to that. Okay. So when I measured down from 540 Royal Cubits from the center of the Great Pyramid, ground level center, to the Golden Cut latitude in 1980, the coordinates for the Golden Cut latitude in 1980 were 29.9766245. All right.
And that was the same, was it?
Yeah, in 1980. No, so what I found was when I projected those back and I found those coordinates for that Golden Cut latitude, it took me some time to work all this out, okay? But if you measure down from the south edge base, the south base of G1, it will be 320 Royal Cubits to the Golden Cut latitude. And to the north edge of G2, it will be 70 Royal Cubits. So 320 divided by 70 gives you a number to 10 decimal places, or 4.517 or 571. But that number, when you multiply, am I losing you? Sorry, am I losing you?
No.
Because the Golden Cut latitude, if you take the numbers in the Golden Cut latitude, 29.9766248, so it's 248, and you multiply that by 320, the result of 320 by 70, you get 137.035999084, which is the 2018 determination, the full 12-digit number of the fine structure constant, the inverse fine structure constant, that was determined in 2018. So what this is that this code points to this latitude, and you find that it generates the fine structure constant, the full 12-digit number that was determined in 2018.
It was only determined in 2018.
Yes, and that's the way the code authenticates itself. But it's also a demonstration of retrocausality. It means that this message must have been sent back from the future or from a point outside of time, which is non-local, in 1980, which then predicts this number in 2018, this full 12-digit number in 2018. And that's the way it authenticates itself, at the same time giving us a demonstration of retrocausality. Whatever this intelligence is behind this code, I wouldn't say it's alien because, no, it's not been proven yet. I wouldn't say it's extraterrestrial. None of that's been proven. All I can say is that this intelligence that gave us this is either from our future, us from the future, come back, sent this information
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
or from a domain outside our spatial temporal reality. So when I found that, I knew that the code hadn't been hoaxed by anyone in our timeline, because it predicts a 12-digit number that came up 38 years later.
Yeah.
So
So Gary,
That's
why
crazy,
why
isn't
is
it?
the pyramid where it is then? Why is the Great Pyramid where it is then? What?
yeah, it's with G2. The center between them is the path of the sun on the summer solstice. So it's as if the Great Pyramid was built first at Giza, and then the other pyramids were built. First of all, it may have been a solar cult. So there's only the Great Pyramid there with a sphinx. It may have been two sphinxes. It may have been the god Aka, that was twin lions, like male and female lions on the Giza plateau with a Great Pyramid, like a triangular configuration. Got the two sphinxes and the Great Pyramid. And then it became a stellar cult with Orion, because I think that the Orion belt stars, Robert Bovo had it right, that they reflect the belt stars. So they built the other pyramids to kind of express this stellar cult. And there's a timeline at Giza called the Giza diagonal. The pyramids are aligned kind of in a diagonal configuration. And each of us, almost, because the center pyramid, the G2, is kind of offset from that line. But that line there, which is an abstract line, it's called the Giza diagonal. That's a processional timeline, I found out. This is all in the new book, because you take that timeline and it's two 160 Royal Cubits. It was originally two 160 Royal Cubits, which is 1/12 of a processional cycle.
Yeah.
And you measure it one way and then you measure it back the other. So you're measuring, it's like a pendulum processional clock. You measure one way and you measure back the other. And that Giza diagonal line on the Giza plateau is a reflection of the south sky, the section of the south sky on the Giza meridian, which is defined by the extreme altitudes of Al-Nitak of Orion, first belt star.
Yeah, yeah.
As it crosses the south sky, it becomes lower and lower and lower until it reaches its extreme end, which would have been in 10460 BC, and then it starts climbing again. And it will be 2500 AD, which will be the other end of this processional cycle timeline.
Yeah.
But what proved it to me about this being a processional timeline, this Giza diagonal, is that you can determine specific dates on that timeline.
Right.
Between 10460 BC and 2500 AD.
Right.
Between the age of Leo and the age of Aquarius, it's strung between those two.
Mm.
So all this is going to be in the new book. So, and we worked this out. Me and Scott Crichton had already worked this out, but he didn't know, and I didn't know at the time when we wrote that book, what you showed us earlier. We didn't know that the Giza diagonal had an original length of two 160 Royal Cubits, which would be, as I said, you measure it one way, measure it the other.
That doesn't surprise me at all, because in Berryman's book, the Earth's circumference is 2160 digits.
Yeah.
2160 with 7 noughts after it.
Yeah.
That's the Earth's circumference in digits.
Yeah.
And 2160 is part of the these numbers that John Michel uses. I mean, it's sexagesimal, isn't it? It's 6 times 6 times 6.
So then you look at this Giza diagonal and you realise the reason why they shortened it and they made it 1/6 the scale. So if it's two 160 Royal Cubits in length originally, that is, if you multiply two 160 by 6, you get 12,960, which is half a processional cycle. So when you're measuring it one way and then you're measuring it back the other, you've got to times it by 6. Okay. So it'll be 12,960 years. In years, this is measuring it in years. 12,960 years one way, 12,960 years the other, which is one full processional cycle one way and then the other. So, and I realised that the reason why they made this 2/160, made it 1/6 the scale, is because if you was to take 12 960 royal cubits, it'd lead you right into Cairo and further, you know. So
Yeah.
they had to scale it down to fit in the Giza plateau. That's the reason why it's 2/160. You know, 1/6
What-
for 12 960.
What it's got to mean is that they've been observing the sky for
Yes,
a very,
yes,
very, very long time.
very long time. Yeah,
You
we
know.
don't know how many processional cycles really, but they must have been charting it. They used El Nitak, the first star in Orion,
Yeah.
as a gauge, as a kind of gauge for measuring the two ends of the processional cycle, or rather, the Alpha Omega and the halfway point of the processional cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this all goes to proving that Robert Bauval was right about that. But as I said, I had help with this intelligence that gave us the Giza coordinates, because just one set of coordinates has produced all this information that's filled this book that I've been completing, which is 700 pages again. It's like it's like another book like that size.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just using one set of coordinates that was sent back, seems to have been sent back. And I'll tell you what, this intelligence must have thought, well, we'll have to give them a kick up the arse. Sorry. We'll have to give them a kick up their backside for them to discover things they should have known about the Giza Plateau by now, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I think, and I don't know what your beliefs are, but I'm telling you, I'm very skeptical about the old UFO kind of phenomenon.
Oh no, I'm crop circles and UFOs. They're not really my.
Nor mine. But when I started researching into, and I was working on this code for 15 years, so I know it back to front. And
I've got a question for you, actually, for both of you, just to take it back to the measurements. So, why should we measure the Giza Plateau in Egyptian Royal Cubits?
Sorry.
Why should we measure it in Egyptian Royal Cubits? Why not another measurement? Why not another unit?
Well, because that's what we're told was the measurement they used, the ancient Egyptians used. But funny thing is that, you know, they must have known about the metre. But that's the answer to that question, is that we use the Royal Cubit, or we consult it because it's what they're supposed to have used to design Giza and work all out the measurements they're doing.
I don't think that just because you've got a measure in cubits, it doesn't mean you can't have a measure in meters as well.
Sure, that's what
because there's a correlation between.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
they must the Royal Cubit and the meter. We know that.
Yeah. Can I tell you this?
Sorry, go on. Yeah.
Sorry, David. Yeah, I sometimes when we're talking, when we're being interviewed or talking, we talk over each other because.
Yeah, sorry, but I do that all the time. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't mean to. But anyway, I was afraid of what I was going to say now.
Meters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What I did find at Giza is that you'll find values in meters that are the same as the values in Royal Cubits. Okay?
That's right.
So you measure, how can I put it? You measure one thing and it will say 930 Royal Cubits. And then you'll measure another part and it will say 930 meters. So it's like apples and oranges, you know, it's a mix of apples and oranges. There's like these values that come up, the same values come up in both Royal Cubits and meters.
That's right.
If to say they were making a point to tell us that both are intertwined, you know, that the Royal Cubit is derived from the meter.
And I've always suspected that it's the numbers that are important, not the numbers units. The numbers are always more important than the units, because you get exactly what you just said.
Well, they provide meaning.
Recurring numbers in inches, in Roman feet, in Greek feet.
Yes.
It just goes on and on and on, and they all these numbers keep recurring over and over again. And 2160 is a classic because that's Babylonian, isn't it? You know, that's what Babylonians were using. and the Egyptians were using it, and we are finding it all the time. And we're finding it. We're finding it here at Giza. We're finding it at Stonehenge, and we're finding it at sites in between. And some researchers are finding connections on Google Earth between Stonehenge and Avebury and Giza. I think Larry Paul is the guy that's doing that. I don't know if you know Larry. But
Larry Paul, I've heard of. Yeah, I've heard. Larry Paul.
Yeah, Larry Paul. Yeah,
yeah, I know him. I did have a chat with him a few.
Yeah, well, Larry is very big on finding like a distance between two sites, and the unit will be root 5.
Yeah,
and it'll be that root 5 will be a cubit. It'll be creating a cubit, and he's done it. He's done it in the UK, and he's done it at Giza as well. And he writes about it. And he's also found that he reckons the speed of light.
Yeah, because that's another thing that I was going back to what I was saying about the African plate moving very slowly northeast.
Yeah,
the angle it's been doing this. It's been consistent over the last 100 million years. That movement, slow movement. You look on Wikipedia, it will tell you where it gives sources where they say this has been going on for 100 million years, you know. But it's moving in a northeast direction at 51.46 degrees azimuth, and it's 2.15 centimeters a year. It's moving at that velocity rate, 2.15 centimeters a year, which over a decade would make a lot of difference with the coordinates, right? So when you're talking about the speed of light, remember there's been this big kind of, it's gone viral about, you know, over the years that the Great Pyramid, the center of the Great Pyramid is speed of light, latitude, running through the center of the Great Pyramid.
Yeah.
Well, it's not actually running through the center of the Great Pyramid. It's north by about 7 meters.
Okay.
That latitude, which I don't know, it's related to the speed of light. It's 29.9792,458, and that would be the latitude. But as I said, it's 7 meters north of the ground level center of the Great Pyramid, right? But because the African plate is moving northeast, the Great Pyramid will sync up with that latitude, the speed of light latitude, in 2562 AD.
Yeah.
2562 AD, which is only 62 years over the 2500 AD date, which is on the Giza diagram.
Yeah. So what date are we saying for the building of G1?
It must go back further than what they're saying, because now they've found they've detected these underground or subsurface structures which would go far beyond the capability of the ancient Egyptians.
You mean those jars?
No, they found that, you know, that team that were out there last March. It was
right.
Announced that they found
the
they
Italian
detected.
team.
Yeah, the Italian team. Yeah, and I know Armando May, one of the guys. I talked to him. I'm talking to him about the fine structure constant, because he found the fine structure constant as well at Giza. But anyway, so these subsurface structures that they've detected, it goes down 2 kilometers. You know, these
right.
There's pillars underneath G2. You know, but they've also found them beneath G1 and also beneath the Sphinx. So this subsurface kind of, I don't know, underground city. That's what they're calling it. That is far more. I mean, the engineering feat of that it's go further than anything the ancient Egyptians could do, and it also puts the dating back, you know, further in time. And you know, Robert Schoch has said that the Sphinx he believes now it goes back half a processional cycle. You know, the age of the Sphinx.
So that's going back 13,000 years.
Yeah, so you take your pick. We don't know. And that's the reason why I've called that book, the book I'm writing now, I called it The Timeless Conception, because we can't really put a time or date to the Giza Plateau. It's
what about the Egyptian mathematics that's in the design of the pyramid? You know,
Yeah, you
the
see, this is mind-boggling to me because I'm actually now thinking that the Great Pyramid, where did the design, well, for the whole complex, the Giza complex, where did the design come from? Uh,
because this idea of the Hecat
yeah,
being 14/11. Well,
yeah,
we know that at the period that the archaeologists are suggesting the pyramid was built, which is about 2,500 BC,
mm,
we know that that kind of measure was in use at that
yeah,
time
mm,
because it's in some of the papyri that have been discovered, and
yeah,
we know from there's an American code breaker called Milo Gardner. I don't know if you've heard of him.
yeah, I have, but I don't
Milo,
think I'm,
he
yeah,
studies he studies Egyptian maths, and the maths that he's producing is is right on target for the
yeah,
period
yeah,
that the suggestion is that the pyramid was built. And if it is built at that time, it's
mm,
megalithic. It's the same as Stonehenge, because Stonehenge was finished 50 years before 2500 BC.
that's right,
So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know about these times. When I went, I was really interested to see the Sphinx when I went.
mm,
And we had the guides we had were brilliant because we had this guy who'd studied Egyptology at Cairo University, and he knew all the pyramid theories. He knew the whole everything, you know. So he was very informed, and
yeah,
he talked us through the Sphinx. And he was saying that there's the ramp that goes up, and the Sphinx was the harbour. And he said that the flood waters, were covering the Sphinx
yeah,
because the Sphinx is a lot lower than the pyramids, isn't it? You know,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's a it's so much lower. You don't realize it when you see photographs with the pyramids behind, but when
right,
you're actually there, you can appreciate just how much lower it is and
yeah,
how easily they could have either taken a canal round that way from the Nile, or
mm,
maybe the Nile even flowed around that area at the time. So it was very interesting to see that. And I'm interested in this movement that you're talking about of the plates, because the
yeah.
pyramid, I always thought it was more or less bang on 30 degrees. But when I actually checked it on Google Earth, it isn't.
No. Oh, this is another thing. You just reminded me. Yeah, so this code that I've been working on 15 years, all right, but mainly kind of concentrated on the Giza coordinates because I already knew about Giza before I even got involved with that code. Yeah. So I was interested more in that, and what I've found through those Giza coordinates alone, it's showing mind-boggling stuff that I can't get my head around, right? Because I'm not sure where the design of the Giza plateau came from. Do you know what I'm thinking? Came from the future. I know this sounds weird, but it's as if the information that they were able to use to build the complex, maybe they picked it up in kind of shamanic.
You, you know, my feeling on that is that having been to the Egyptian, the Grand Egyptian Museum, and seen some of the best exhibits, because our guide took us, we only saw a bit of it really, but we were there for quite a long time. And seeing King Tut's
Yeah,
display
yeah,
and the quality of
yeah.
everything there, my feeling is that we've completely underestimated these people.
Yeah,
And that's,
you see, I always come back to that because
yeah,
this my benchmark. But
yeah,
I can't help it after going through this code for the last 15 years.
yeah,
I can't make my mind up. I can't. What I'm saying is, it's proven this prediction of a 12-digit number. It's proven that through mathematics. So this intelligence is using mathematics to prove the things it is telling us, because you can't refute math. And it's so meticulously done. You'd have to live and breathe this stuff like I have for the last 15 years.
Yeah, I need to get a copy of that book, don't I?
Yeah, well, it will be mind-blowing when you read it. And
Yeah.
I mean that in a humble way.
Honestly, I'm really looking forward to reading it now we've talked about it.
When will it be ready, Gary?
April, hopefully. I'm still working on getting it published. I'm still preparing it for publication, but I've more or less completed it. It's just going through everything, make sure the consistencies are right.
Yeah.
For the book. But
best of luck with that.
yeah, I can't. You see, a lot of people would laugh at that. Oh yeah, were you saying that the Giza complex was the information to build it, or the
I think it makes sense that you're looking for an explanation. You're finding something that's really sophisticated and you're looking for an explanation. I would tend to side with David in that I think we've very much underestimated the builders of the pyramids, whoever they were.
Yeah, we have.
And I know you agree with that, but I think I think it's more likely that they were capable of figuring out the fine structure constant or the speed of light than some kind of time travel exchange. But I think that you shouldn't put it past them that they maybe did know these numbers. You know, I really think that they were very sophisticated.
Well, if they knew phi.
Yeah. Well, Robert Bovell put it in my mind, see. He put the seed in my mind when he said that, the ancient shamans who were able to go into this, internal worlds, and they bring back information. Maybe that's how they brought back the information to be able to build the complex. Maybe it was all mathematical. I mean, I don't know. But you get savants, don't you? Like the Indian.
Like Rain Man. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, savants and they must have been it must have existed back then.
Of course.
And they would come up with all this knowledge, the numbers, the math. And maybe they applied it to the Giza plateau. But where did it come from? If these shamans were able to get hold of this knowledge from inside, where did it come from originally? Is it some communion with an intelligence that gave them this information? Well, Robert Bovell played with that idea. He was entertaining that. Yeah, it's his fault. Yeah, Robert, it's your fault.
But when you're trying to explain this amazing sophistication that you find, like some people some people think that the explanation is aliens. Some people think the explanation is divine intuition or time travel. I've heard that as well. And it's the point is, it is very surprising to find these connections, but people are finding them. You found them, David. You found them, Gary. I found them. I know lots of people who found them. And how do you explain it? It just does not fit. It does not fit with what we know.
No, it was something else I wanted to tell you, because as I was talking, I was kind of, it came to mind as we.
I'm sorry, I probably interrupted you. Was it about the continental drift, or maybe the speed of light?
Well, that is important. The continental drift or the tectonic plate motion, is important. Researchers should consider that, when they're writing about the Giza plateau and they're coming up with these coordinates for each key part. They got to realise that the coordinates will change every year, slightly, but over 10 years it will be quite a distance.
I've thought about it myself, but I think as well that it's very hard to know for sure that it's a constant flow. There may have been geological events that have interrupted the flow, so it's very hard to know going far back in time, but I think it's definitely a consideration.
Yeah, the light here. Wait a moment.
You're gone, Gary. You're gone.
I know. Let's do something about this. God, how's that?
Yeah, you're back.
I thought it was supernatural for a minute.
The light coming through the window there. Yeah, I was going to tell you this, is that, when I was saying that meridional distance, that north-south meridional distance of 1413.72 Royal Cubits between G1 and G3 in the south. I said 540 Royal Cubits from the Great Pyramid down to the Golden Cut latitude, right? 540 Royal Cubits, if you use the Royal Cubit of 0.5236 meters, and you convert that into meters, it will be 282.744 meters, okay? Now, if you take the full distance in Royal Cubits, and then you subtract from 1413.72 282.744 in meters. So you're using Royal Cubits and meters. You're
Right.
subtracting the meter distance of 540 Royal Cubits from the full distance of 1413.72 Royal Cubits, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get 1130.976 meters, okay? And that's the original length of the Giza diagonal. 2160 Royal Cubits converted into meters is 1130.976. Do you get that? The meridial distance of 1413.72 Royal Cubits, take away 282.744 meters, which is 540 Royal Cubits. You take that, you subtract that from that distance, and you get the original meter distance of the Giza diagonal.
216 cubits, is it?
2160 Royal Cubits. And then you multiply that by 0.5236 and you get 1130.976. But you can get that number from the meridial north-south meridial distance between the Great Pyramid and the G3 in the south, just by subtracting from that distance the meter distance of 540 Royal Cubits, which is 282.744. It's difficult. You need it. Have you got your
I've got my little calculator handy. It's
So
never
does
very
it-
far.
was I right about that?
Yeah. The numbers, the numbers work. The numbers work.
So what I'm saying is, the distance between the Great Pyramid and G3, that full distance there, you can generate the original length of the Giza diagonal from that. Just
Sorry,
by
do you
that
mean
calculation.
the whole rectangle from the top of G1 to the bottom of G3,
from
or from
the
center to center, north south,
center to center, yeah.
center to center? Okay.
So, and then you just subtract the meter distance of 540 Royal Cubits,
Right,
the meter
gotcha.
distance of 282.744 from that full Royal Cubit distance, and it gives you the original length of the Giza diagonal.
Is that what Petrie measured?
Yeah, I don't think he measured that, did he? Did he
He
measure
only
that?
did center to center diagonally between G1 and G3,
Okay.
Yeah,
which
Not-
is
not the-
35864 or 35857.7, isn't it, David?
not the
Yeah.
meridian
Well,
distance.
what I wanted you to ask you, Gary,
Yeah.
is what do you think about Glenn Dash? What do you think about his work?
I endorse his files that his survey map files, which was completed in 2018. Sadly, he's no longer with us. I know. And at the time when I first met Manu, Saves the Day, Manu was in contact with Glenn Dash, and I was asking Manu to ask Glenn Dash some questions about the survey maps and all that. And anyway, Manu was able to send me the files from Glenn Dash's website, and that's how I was able to work out the position of the Sphinx on the Giza Plateau and also the pyramids. Because
For this book that you're doing now?
the four corners and the center, yeah. So I went into Google Earth Pro and I've drawn the Sphinx, the outline of the Sphinx, and the head to the survey map file that Glenn Dash had provided. Each survey point, because he outlined the Sphinx with his survey points,
Yeah.
gave all the outline of the Sphinx, and each of those survey points contain the northings and eastings that you get in the GPMP map,
Yeah.
and also the GPS coordinates for each point.
Right.
So I was able to lay out where the Sphinx is actually on the Giza Plateau.
Yeah.
Because as you know, with the satellite images, it depends on where the satellite is.
That's right, yeah.
Photographs. And it
So
can
you
be-
used his work
to position
because
the
it
Sphinx.
is. I mean, I really subscribe to using his work, and what I use is on G1. He's saying that the intention of the builders was to put 230.4 meters. He says it in his paper to put 230.4 meters into the side of G1.
Yeah.
He said that was the intention. And if you multiply by 4, that's 921.6. And that's meters in the base. And if you multiply that into millimeters, That's 9216000. The square root of that is 960.
Yeah, got
That
it.
is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it
That's
is. All these
truly,
things.
truly amazing. And that's what he said. So that's my starting point when I'm and I wrote a paper with that
Right.
in and some other things. And I contacted the Glendash Foundation because I was so amazed that I'd found that. And I thought, I want to dedicate this paper to Glendash. So I got in touch with them and I said, is it all right to do that with this paper? And they said, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead, brilliant.
Yeah. No, I completely endorse all that because Manu told me, he said, if you're going to use any map files or survey maps, use Glendash.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And really all that work that I've done in this new book is based on the Dash files,
Is it? That's really well. Yeah, I did know that because I don't know where I picked it up from, but I do remember reading it, and that's why I asked you for your opinion on Glendash, because I'm putting my money on Glendash.
Yeah, well, I do. Yeah, they're the best. That's the best source for working out the Giza plateau, the measurements.
Well,
but also using the Royal Cubit length that we've discussed.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Really fantastic.
Yeah, with Glendash, how to put it? Yeah, I mean, he based everything on Petrie. He based a lot of it on Petrie's measurements.
Yeah.
But with G3, they say that G3 is kind of like a rectangular shape. It's kind of shorter on one side. Yeah. But when you look at what Glendash has provided, it seems that G3 was perfectly square.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, and I had to do a deep dive into that and make sure.
And did you get it?
Yeah, and it's 77. The sides are actually 77 times phi squared. And this is Manu as well telling me that there's a connection between G1 and G3. There's a mathematical connection between them. And you'll get the right side lengths from working out things to do with G1, the measurements there.
Yeah.
You'll provide the measurements for G3.
Yeah.
But all this is in the book,
Yeah.
God, this is so much. There's so much.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Well, there's another thing I wanted to ask you about, because this was why I got really keen on your work, because I was looking at all the numbers and I was thinking this Petrie measurement that Manu has worked the cubit out for it. I didn't like it, but it didn't seem to me that Petrie had measured the right length for the base when he'd got that number, because it didn't agree with Vise and it didn't agree with what the savants had got.
Right.
Because what's he called? Piazzi Smythe, in his book, he gives what the savants measured and he gives what Vise measured, and they're much longer than Petrie.
Yeah.
And Larry Paul told me that there was something going off between Piazzi Smythe and Petrie. And Petrie didn't want Piazzi Smythe's measures to be accepted.
No.
So he came out with this measure, which I don't know what he measured, but it's definitely not what the savants measured, and it's not what Vise measured, and it's a lot shorter. But when you put it in John Michel's Canon of Ancient Measure that he uses at the pyramids, it produces an Earth circumference of 24,888.888 miles. That's this Manu cubit. Now, I didn't find that out for maybe 3 years after I was on the WhatsApp website. But that, to me, is very significant, because it's 111.11111 recurring miles.
Yeah.
Shorter than 25,000. Yeah. And I'm looking at the top of the range as being 25,000. This is what I write about. The design of the Giza pyramid is geodetic, and it's against but not right down to the base. It goes like you get the geodetic measure down to, it's almost like the year where you find 365.25 in the design of the pyramid base in inches. That it is the geodetic sort of finish, and then below that, where you go down to this cubit, and then beyond that to what the savants were getting, that's where you get into the astronomical numbers.
Right. When you talk about geodetic, yeah, the Great Pyramid, there's angles within its internal structure.
Yeah.
Between I don't know whether you saw that in that book, because I worked out the angles inside the Great Pyramid. You know,
yeah.
And if you measure from each of the vertices, you know, the two corner points, when you're looking at the Great Pyramid in cross section, if you measure the angle from, say, the south corner through to the center of the King's Chamber, is 23.78 degrees.
Yeah.
And then you think that's close to the Earth's obliquity angle.
Obliquity, yeah.
And then you find that the King's Chamber is offset by 6.2 degrees. Right?
Yeah.
And then when you add those numbers together, you know, you're getting like 30 degrees, almost 30 degrees. So it's like a geodetic, how can I put it? It's pointing to its own location. The Great Pyramid pointing to its own location.
For 30 degrees, yeah. You know,
6.2, 6.2 away from the ecliptic.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
And that's what Graham Hancock was so mind blown by that he wrote the foreword to the book I wrote with Scott Crichton, where all that information was in there. Yeah. And he said that's mind boggling. How did they know that? So.
They knew where it was positioned, didn't they?
Yeah. It's pointing to its own location on the planet. So geodetically, the Great Pyramid has got a lot to offer in terms of the orbital dynamics of the planet.
Yeah, definitely.
And that alone is mind-boggling. There's so many different areas here.
Yeah,
we could pick on something to talk about, and it will be mind-blowing, and then something else. You know,
it never stops, does it?
No, and what I found with what this book produces, it's like an interlocking spherical grid of information, where one thing will confirm something, and that in turn will be confirmed by something else. It's an interlocking grid that everything matches up mathematically.
Yeah.
And I go to bed at night, I can't get asleep because my mind is still going with all this stuff, you know.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be important when it comes out. I don't think it's going to be successful.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's a slow burn thing that it will endure, and I think it's good because I've been able to work out the facts, some of the things that researchers have kind of puzzled about or trying to solve. And I think it would be a good resource for other researchers and like a reference kind of book in a way. But at the same time, enhancing our knowledge about the Giza Plateau through all these numbers. And that Royal Cubit length is the key to unlocking all the secrets of Giza. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's really fascinating. So, Gary, your book's coming out hopefully in April.
Yeah, right about my birthday. That'll be my
When's your birthday?
April the 6th, the new tax year. Yeah. my dad never forgave me.
Don't say that.
My dad never forgave me for being born on the 6th of April because he thought he was going to get a tax return, rebate or whatever.
Well, anyway, maybe we could have another chat then when the book is done.
Yeah. I've got to get it sorted out. I'm preparing it for publication. It's a bit stressful, all right. I love writing. I love writing a book. My payback is just discovering new things all the time.
Yeah, well, I wish you all the best with it, Gary.
Thank you, David. But
where are you from originally, Gary?
Peckham, Southeast London. Southeast London guy, yeah, lad.
You can't mistake that accent.
The environment, it was rough. But I think that was the environment I needed to be born and brought up in, because it made me down to earth, you know. It's a good foundation. I'm not up there flying around with the fairies. I've got to, you know, as I say, being brought up there, it teaches you a lot, you know. Such a rough area. And the thing is that environment is not conducive to this kind of work I'm doing now. You know, especially the experience I had in '93. I had an experience in '93 which actually put me on the path to all this and being an author. But we could talk about that some other time.
Well, just briefly, now that you mentioned it,
Yeah, it was
I want to know.
I didn't know what it was. I was only how old was I? It was back in '93. Yeah, and this experience, it was. I later found out it was Kundalini. They call it Kundalini. The Hindus will call it Kundalini. It's a universal experience. And I realised after a while, after researching into it, I found a lot of people that had their experience from the 1950s. People in the West were having this awakening. I don't like the word awakening, but awakening experience since the 1950s. And it may have something to do with the drug culture and that. But people in the West were having this experience that I found from the 50s. So, in '93, I had no prior knowledge of it, no prior instruction or anything like that. It was spontaneous. And but after that, I think that actually boosted my IQ, that experience. Yeah, because they call it an enlightenment experience, but I don't really talk about it. I only mentioned it once in the book. I don't really like talking about it because they think, oh, who's he think he is, having an enlightenment experience, you know, and all that kind of thing. But you get that from people, you know. And I realised when I was used to talk about it or try to tell people about it, their eyes would glaze over. So I thought, nah, I won't go there. But actually, that experience is, I'm sure, is what prepared me for all the work I'm doing. And working on this code with this intelligence that provided this code, I'm sure that experience was all in preparation for that.
Amazing. David,
Yeah.
you don't have any similar story to share, no? Kundalini?
Well,
I've got
like
loads.
to say thanks to Gary, and I'm really looking forward to reading his book. And it's been
Yeah.
brilliant talking to him.
Yeah,
I mean, I've known
absolutely.
about his work for such a long time, and it's really nice to meet him.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Nice to meet you
really
too.
delighted to meet. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much, Gary. Thank you, David.
Thank you,
Melissa.
Thank you both. So we'll pick up again when I've got the book out. If you want to talk before that, just get in touch.
I'm just going to stop the recording, but we can still chat a tiny bit because let me just stop it now and then that's done. And